More game to go, 80 minutes to decide who are the champions, and I can tell you right now the mood at Ramblers is amazing because we can't wait to lift the trophy for the fourth time in a row. And I can tell you now we're going to have a chat with a man who once donned this jersey of the Springboks, and I'm talking about none other than legendary Oli Leroux. And before we just talk to him, I want Tebogo Masimona to give us a warm introduction of this legend in our presence.
Oh, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't come any bigger than this. As I sit here and I look across and I see this man, all I see is over 100 caps for the Sharks in the Currie Cup. He's played his rugby all abroad, has been to Leicester, has been all over. If I'm not mistaken, he played for the Cats before they were called the Lions. So he's got the world of rugby experience and rugby knowledge. And he went to the school that is the Rugby Factory. And some of my favorite Afrikaans commentary will always say die Rugby Fabriek van Wêreld Rugby in South Africa. And it is the one and only Andre Henry Leroux, but some people know him as Oli Leroux. He's been through it all. The Free State, when they were still called the Free State, before they moved into the Cheetahs. My goodness me, what a pleasure it is to have you here, Mr. Oli Leroux.
Hey. Welcome, Mr. Oli Leroux.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. That was a warm welcome, and looking forward to a great game. And what's nice is you can feel the energy. It's crazy. It's been crazy since about 2-3 o'clock. The focus is on one place, and that's Paris, France. And the boys that's going to make us proud. So it's awesome to be with you guys. Thank you.
Listen, I mean, the first thing I can imagine as fans, as we're going through the tension, how does it feel like as a player at this big stage in a final, going through that tension? What do you think the players are going through in France right now?
Okay, so the butterflies in the stomach is there. But it's like a war. You know what you've got to do. You know what you have to do, what you're going to do, and you're going to put your body on the line. And at least they can do something about it. Us poor folks back here, we just got to sit and pray and push as hard as we can. And I think that's what makes this team so unique. Because if you look, that's not 23, that's 63 million that's playing on that field today. And this is going to be impressive.
Look, Coach. Tactically, when you look at both squads, New Zealand are coming in with a 5-3 split, and we are going in with a 7-1 split. Tactically, what do you think is going to be the approach of the game for both teams?
I think if we go back to the game that we played before the World Cup at Twickenham, I think that's basically what we're going to do, and we're going to tell them, see how you're going to beat them. And I think the mistake the All Blacks made in their selection, I would have had Bowden Barrett on the field as a 7th flank because they need weight, because we got weight. And no matter what we're going to do, this ain't going to be pretty. It's going to be give it to the first man and we smash into whoever's in our way. And we're going to do it over and over again. And then you know what? We've got 7 other guys that are going to come do it again. And you know what this reminds me of? It sounds funny. Remember when you were at school, and you played in poses? In Afrikaans, we had a poser. A poser was break, and then poses you jawed, and it was grade 3s against the grade 4s. And then we had to jaw. And then you had poser, and then you had second break. And this is what it's going to be. It's going to be brutal. We know what's coming, and what's amazing, the All Blacks are an amazing rugby side, amazing rugby nation, and they've done very well to get where they are. But I think people forget before the World Cup, they weren't that All Black side that we remember. And why? Because they've lost amazing players like McCaw, leaders that took them to places. And we've got those leaders in Kulisi, in Dwayne, in Eben, in Damien, and all those players that stood up and taken us there. And I believe that is going to be a big difference between the two sides today. There's a destiny that was on a guy like Richie McCaw and how he fought for it. And if you just look at our team, our whole team, and especially our captain, destiny tonight will be in our favor.
And I just want to find out from you, I always refer to you as Coach Oli, I want to find out from you. Obviously, the Boks have gone with a 7-1 split. And looking at weather forecast and all that stuff, it is exactly the same as what it was in Twickenham. You mentioned it. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be pouring down. So a lot of people have spoken about when Mani Lebok is in the squad, the Boks really want to play expansive. But do you think that the focus now for Jacques is because it's hard to do both? It's hard to be a team that rushes off the line and also to be a team that really plays an expansive game. Do you think now he wants to go route one with Pollard back in the team? If it's not contestable, when we get into their own half, when we get into the New Zealand half of the field, all we want to do is we want to bully them, get a penalty, go for poles, and once we're comfortable, do you think that's when we'll start seeing the Bok flair, where we go with rolling more scrums and all of that?
Yeah, I think you're saying a lot in that one question. I'm going to try and answer everything. Firstly, Mani Lebok, if you remember, played against the All Blacks in Twickenham.
Yeah.
So don't think Mani Lebok is just an expansive player. He's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Andre Pollard brought a lot of calm, and Mani's actually lifted his game, and he was kicking. Andre brought something to the team, just that confidence.
Yeah.
Why I think Andre and Fafi Simple, two very good kickers. What I don't like is I don't like two instinctive players in our general places. So our 15 and our 10 must be players that, and Mani's a little bit instinctive to me. Where Pollard comes a bit as Mr. Cool Hand Luke, he's there, he's calm, but then Damien brings that and if something happens to Pollard, you just move Damien to the right position, and Billy LaRue comes on, and we have got just a bit of a general that calms things down. I think that's what we're looking for. In wet weather, you need weight and you need powerful forwards because it's mauls, it's close contact, it's hard contact. And what's going to happen, the All Blacks only have 5 guys on the bench that can come on. Okay?
5-3 split,
5-3. So what happened? And this is what I say, you've got Epsabet and Morne Mostert, and now you're going to go crazy, and the next minute Archie and Snyman pitches up. And then by the way, we've got Kobus Visa as well.
Exactly.
So nothing's going to be pretty.
Yeah.
One thing that's always important is the statistics must be in your favor. So you must play in the right areas of the field with the right percentages to put pressure on them. That's very important. We know the All Blacks have got solid big boy backs that can score tries from 50 to 100 meters.
Yeah.
We're going to have to have a defensive system that sorts that out. And in wet weather, the rush, it creates mistakes because when you get man and ball, you tend to get pressure.
Yeah.
So I believe it's going to be tight. A lot of balls, a lot of hard scrums, very close contact. Good tactical kicking because the All Blacks also kick very smart, high kicks under pressure. See a bit where the bounce is, and suddenly I believe our weight will just start taking its toll. And when the our bomb squad comes on, I think that's when we're going to see a massive next step. And Andre Pollard and Faf, you can see in wet weather, they're the right guys, just with their accuracy with kicking.
Yeah.
And what was always amazing, Rassie believes you have to have 10 or more caps in the World Cup final to be able to play, and he's given Mani Lebok that. And now when the time's come, I think the right decisions was made for the weekend.
Listen, coach, you know that people who still panic over the results that we got against France, and they still panic because of the result we got against England. You know, to those people that are worried about, you know, that result, what would you say is the one thing that we need to fix from either of the two games, if there is anything that needs to be fixed? That maybe I'm thinking that New Zealand might take from those games and use it against us.
I think if I looked at those two games, we were not at our best. Okay. One thing I didn't expect France to raise their game like that. Yeah. And remember in '95 when they walked into that final, there was a couple of mad South Africans, 63 million of them going at them. Imagine what happened in France, huh?
Yeah.
Those Oaks, they wanted us to lose. I heard from friends, they said they tried everything, all the dirty tricks you can think, video shots of height of tackles to try and get yellow cards. They drowned out our players, so they came for us and we won by 1 point.
Yeah.
That victory over the home nation, you must understand, because they were all against us. That was a great victory. Then we took the old enemy, the English, okay? And we all thought the English were weak because the Queen has died, but the King is there. There's power in that principality, huh? And we had to slay it, huh? And I really believe the fact the way we slayed it, the first one in 2019 was for everything in South Africa. This one was for everything in Africa. It was a massive spiritual victory nearly for me. But we had to go to the dogfight. We had to fight. We had to do stuff. We had to believe. And I don't think the All Blacks has been in that place yet. And when you play into a final, you got to know and you got to believe. And whatever's in your way, must get pulverized.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for from the Springboks today, because if that pitches, I don't know how the All Blacks are going to stop it. But the All Blacks tend to be very good in the right time. They just bounce on a mistake and they go for it. And I believe that's what will be the biggest difference between the two sides. If we're precise and the All Blacks don't get those opportunities, I don't know, unless you have brilliance from one of their wingers or some of their special players that really stands up. Yeah. But if you look, they're going to have to man up. This is going to be intense, my friend. This is going to be intense.
I just want to find out from you. So obviously, I think a player that you would really know well in the form of Willie Leroux. A lot of talk has gone into his game and all of that, and everyone seems to believe that with Willie, now all of a sudden his game has changed. He talks more and he plays less with the mistakes that he's made. So I want to find out from you, coming into this final, do you think this is the moment where Willie Leroux, once again, like the 2019 World Cup, where he had an injury, no one knew, and then he just stepped up and we won the final? Do you think this is another chance for Willie to come out and say, hey, I'm still Willie Leroux that everyone knows?
I think that's exactly what it is. And what's nice with Willie, he just brings something that you don't know what the hell's going to happen next. Now, when you bring something like that, we don't even know what's going to happen next. You know what I'm saying? But he's a dangerous player and he's got vision. And he brings a calmness that we're going to need, because we got this jitteriness about us. If you think Colby, if you think Orense, if you think Damien, there's like intensity. But Pollard and I think Willie is there to just bring balance, bring cold heads, calm down. We know where we're going. That authority, I think, and that's what Willie's role is going to be. And if he comes on, Willie's the kind of player that can break open any game for you. Yeah. He's a magic player. And you know what? He's not the only one. I think we've got about 15 players out there that have got that bit of magic. Huh?
Yeah, and also, of course, we've seen Jasper Wiese has been dropped. Well, not dropped, but he's been rested for 2 games. And a lot of people have gone into, and I do believe that coming into this game, into the final, the 2 games that we played against France and against England, I do believe that a guy like Dwayne Vermeulen was being played because of experience, to keep the calm heads and all of that. What do you think the reintroduction of Jasper Wiese coming off from the bench, what do you think that's going to bring into the team? I mean, he's probably like a pit bull. He's been kept in a cage the whole time, and all of a sudden now it's a 7-1 split where he can just be thrown onto the field.
I think that's going to be spectacular. And what's interesting with Dwayne, a while ago, Rassie said him and Frans Steyn, they've got to play them fit. They're a bit old now. They're struggling with the fitness, but they got the experience.
Yeah.
So I think he kept Dwayne to one side and then said Dwayne always plays better after 3 games. Yeah. So he threw him in the one, threw him in the next one, and this will be probably Dwayne's best game, probably his last game for the Springboks.
Yeah.
Guys, whoa. And then Jasper Wiese is waiting. And as soon as Dwayne drops his intensity, he's going to come on and we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I believe that continuity of what we can bring on with fresh legs, that's what Rassie wanted. And he always said, when I get to the quarterfinals, I must be able to stand 6-man deep and they must be fresh. And we got to this final with 10% less time than the All Blacks of our players on the field. Yo. And that, I think, is going to be a big factor.
Goodness me.
Another factor that I realized when we were playing England, the weather took a toll on us in terms of our line-outs. You know, how dangerous or how much of a problem they can be under this weather, because we saw our lineouts were a bit of a problem.
Yeah, and remember, the guys against you are professionals. They're good, and they target you. They put pressure on you, and they put pressure on the hooker. A good team does that, and all you can do is you must just stand up, be counted, and throw. And that's why your cohesion in your team is important. But I must be honest, I've never in my life seen a hooker throw like that, English hooker. You know, bro? And we thought they were used to wet weather. So it just shows you how tough that you know, you're standing there in front, okay? Now they're playing, and the next minute here comes RG Snyman. Have you seen how tall that oak is? Just standing with his hand up as a hooker, you actually really just shit yourself, because this is like, that's height, and you got to now the percentages starts going in your favor. Yeah. And I believe that's where the All Blacks, their hookers, that basic skill of theirs with the line-out jumpers, and the way Rassie is, I don't know if you saw today on Twitter, he showed his sleeping hours for the past 24 hours is 0. Yeah. He can't sleep. He goes going over everything, making sure everything's right, know where we have to do, know what happens with that, and that's what it takes. And the guys will be ready for the lineouts. But Your set pieces, your fundamentals in a final is so important. Your basic structures, your defense, not giving anything away easy, making them grind for every minute and second, and when you get them, to harass them, to make it a dogfight. And I believe we got the team to make it a dogfight. I think they've got a couple of players that can be a dogfight, but I don't think they've got enough.
Yeah. Now once again, I go into, and I love the fact that you are here, an old Springbok player, you've played your rugby. You don't really look that old. I think you can still don the jersey and go on and play.
For 5 minutes, I'll just cover the blind.
But, a lot of talk has come in with the likes of your Vincent Koch. Not actually Vincent, Stephen Kitsoff. Bongim Bonambi. I mean, Kitsoff has been called in for missing a lot of tackles. He's been called in for causing a lot of penalties, especially when he goes in for the steal. Bongim Bonambi, he's been scrutinized for not being able to get his lineouts. And I wanna find out from you. So between ourselves as the Springboks and as New Zealand, we've played across Europe. I mean, I'm talking URC. There's been a lot of rugby that we've been playing. And when you look at New Zealand and Australia, who, they fell off quite quickly, but we've had to do a lot more traveling. Yeah. We've had to travel all over Europe. And then when you look at the New Zealanders, they've only had to travel between Australia and the Pacific countries. Do you think that just a little bit might come into the favor of the New Zealanders having not have to make so many travel arrangements and all of that?
I think if it was just a 4-week tournament, maybe, but I think and the planning of it ahead of it, what Rassie and them did, definitely, I don't think it will be a big issue. The interesting thing is we haven't flown that long New Zealand trip that we always do every year. I just think we did it once or to Argentina. So we don't have that travel fatigue, which is a positive thing. And the nice thing is, the more you play the All Blacks, the better you tend to get, because they're really a good side. Yeah. But the more the All Blacks play us, the tougher they get as well. I don't think they've had such tough games. I don't think they're such a tough side. Yeah. Because they haven't been playing us enough, and it will be something to see at this moment. I think they're a little bit vulnerable, but you can never write them off. They're just too proud a nation.
Coach, when you look at this type of games, New Zealand, South Africa, we know the rivalry. It goes way back and it's very intense. Does form really matter? Can we look at it and say the team that has a better form can actually walk away with it, or at this point it's tactics over form?
No, at this point I think both teams are in form. They've shown they've won games. They've got a bit of a streak going. They've beaten some of the best teams out there. And the biggest thing now is going to be player fatigue. Remember the pressure, you just felt it a little bit today, huh? Yeah. Remember when the game stopped last week, you had that pressure, and now you're into World Cup final mode. The biggest thing is stay calm, stay focused, go through the processes, trust the process, trust each other, discuss the tension. So they're much more prepared for us for this battle. So I really believe there's not much that you can say, oh, that's in our favor, or it's a neutral ground.
Yeah.
It's in the World Cup final. You don't get better than this. And I hope the All Blacks pitch and play their best, because that's what we're going to do, and we're going to see blood on the floor, and it's going to be a great, great, great game of rugby.
Coach, one thing that's running through my mind is we talking all these tactics, right? And we talking all the nitty-gritties of the game. But I'm wondering, how far in terms of points do you think this game is going to go?
Okay. So he's put me on the spot here, so I'm going to be conservative.
Yeah.
And I know the Springboks are going to win. Okay? And it will be with 7 and more points.
7?
Or more points.
7 or more points.
But the 20 points difference is there. I'm just worried about the weather.
Yeah.
But I really don't think, and if the All Blacks beat us, they will play the greatest test match they've ever played in their whole life.
Look, Coach, any last remarks that you want to put out there to the people of the Free State, to the people of South Africa, and to the people of the world that follow rugby, just before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I just want to say, what a privilege to be part of a journey of South Africa. Where we just see, we physically see the transformation that's happened since 1995. to today. I was in the first team that didn't play under the old flag.
Yeah.
And I met Nelson Mandela that day. And Nelson Mandela saved the Springbok for us. And look what the Springbok has done today for South Africa.
Yeah.
Because this is more than a Springbok. This is owned by all of South Africa. And the beauty of what we're seeing today is the vision that a guy like Nelson Mandela must have had, and the vision for a united South Africa. And I'm telling you now, boys, if we can do this on one sports field, and we can just imagine what's the limit of this country. And I think that's what we must just sit back and enjoy, to see how good we as South Africans are and how connected we are, and we will overcome anything out there. And this is what we will see tonight from this Springbok team, and it's one of the most amazing experiences ever. Thank you for having me on the show. Huh?
What a time
Coach,
to be a South African.
thank you so much. What a time really, Tebogo, to be a South African. Listen, you out there at home, we are going to have more chats, so we're still going to continue with conversations because we are out here at Ramblers Club. This is where we are having our big screen. So if you're at home and you don't know what to do make your way, come through and have some fun with us as we smash
That's it.
New Zealand. But for now, let's take a break. We're going to come back for sure.
Thank you, guys.
Meet my dad. Mzala addiction is doing lockdown things ngai. So grumpy in the morning.
Ala madata.
And the multi.
Ha, you are sexy.
But he will do anything. I mean any big job for Rama Queen. Once the pocket is full, straight to my friend for it.
Hey, ule data go. Hey, yeah.
Cause you know why?
Ala matata.
I know what you were thinking. Data. Hey. Matata. FS Online. Meet my dad. Mzala addiction is doing lockdown things ngai. So grumpy in the morning.
Ala madata.
And the multi.
Ha, you are sexy.
But he will do anything. I mean any big job for Rama Queen. Once the pocket is full, straight to my friend for it.
Hey, ule data go. Hey, yeah.
Cause you know why?
Ala matata.
I know what you were thinking. Data. Hey. Matata. FS Online. Wherever you are.
Ayo, this is the Timbaland Sputnik Marutin, and we are behind the scenes of Patko's show with Rugby. Don't forget, every Sunday at 6 o'clock, FS Online, baby. We're bringing you the nice interviews, funny, relaxed, family orientated. So come and join us because me, Uncle is here, baby. See you there, FS Online this Sunday. Eyamat Ika. Ayo, this is equivalent Sputnik Marupin, and we are behind the scenes of Patko's show with Rugby. Don't forget, every Sunday at 6 o'clock, FS Online, baby. We're bringing you the is here, baby. See you there, FS Online this Sunday. Eyamat Ika. Ayo, this is equivalent Sputnik Marupin, and we are behind the scenes of Patko's show with Rugby.
We just started the conversation with a legend, Oliriru. That was such an exciting conversation, but we just added one more person into the show to discuss, the game prior to the start. Debza, what an amazing conversation we had with Coach.
Yeah, no, definitely a great conversation that we had with Ollie, and it's always good to, to have someone who's been there and has felt the pressure cooker. Like I always say, is that it's all fun and games when we come through in the studio and we talk about what it could be. But having someone like Ollie, 1995.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played 54 caps for the Boks, and he's been through it all, through 1994 all the way to 2002. So he's definitely someone. It was great to have him here in the studio.
Listen, we just added someone we hijacked earlier on today. Lesego, you can see by his physique that he touched the ground. He once had an opportunity to play the game. Khotman, how are you doing?
Well, I'm good, and you, sir? How are you?
No, I'm amazing, man. How's the feeling right now? I mean, we're about to watch the greatest rugby match of our lifetime.
Well, what I got to say to you is that it's all hyped up, and everyone's here. It's looking forward for today's game because now they say that are anxious for this game.
Yeah.
Because now there are so many emotions within it. Why am I saying this? Because now it's the first time, actually it's the second time that the Springboks are meeting up now with the All Blacks. The last time it was in 1995.
Sure.
We won it through during the time of Joseph van der Vet's season.
Yeah.
And when Nicky Marlett was still the coach of the Springboks that time. And currently, I still believe that we're gonna bring it on. I still believe that we have it in us, though many people that I've met here that I keep on talking to them, they keep on saying that, you know what, within these finals, the All Blacks, they played way better compared to us.
Yeah.
And I said to them, yes, they did, but there's one thing that you do not know about this game, that it can be very strategically. Besides that, also again, this game can be technical also. That's how we got to be within this final.
Look, with what you mentioned and said, the last time we met them in the final was in 1995. There's a special line from Tebogo Masemola that is inclusive of that moment. Because now it's three each side, right? And now we are in a moment that's about to make history. I want you to punch in that line, my boy. What's that line?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, we are 3-3 in World Cup finals.
Yes.
The All Blacks are 4-3. The last one that they lost was 28 years ago against the Springboks in 1995. Ladies and gentlemen, they have the tall task of having to do it again, and they have to do it again against us. Halala mapoka poka. It's Shapopo. I'm telling you now. The spirit. Everyone says, whose ancestors are the greatest? I'm telling you now, Nelson Mandela, wherever he is, he's chatting to the Queen, he's chatting to John Alomo and all the other players that have represented anyone who's against us. And they are saying right now, we come here for the fourth time to win for the fourth time.
Listen, I want to jump on you. Earlier on, we were talking about the splits, right?
Yeah.
And I like, as I asked the coach, what is your thoughts tactically of you know, the 7-2-1 split versus the 5-2-3 split?
Yeah. So for a lot of people that are watching, you know, from home, so basically the Springboks have gone with the 7-1 split, which means that they only have one backline player that is able to come in, which is Willem Leroux.
Yeah.
The rest of the 7 are all forwards. So which means that out of the 8 forwards that we have, 7 of them are going to get substituted. So going into this game against New Zealand, the conditions will be pretty much the same as the ones that we played against New Zealand in Twickenham a month ago.
Yeah.
With the weather in France is 14 degrees with the chance of rain. So the Springboks, all they're going to be focusing on is either they're going to kick the ball high, contestables, hence Mani Lebok is not in the team. So we're going to play a game whereby we're going to kick a lot of contestables, we're going to kick long, test the opposition skill. So we're going to test New Zealand on how well they can do under pressure. But when we get into their half of the game, that's when those forward players are going to come in with that bullying mentality, and we're just going to go in, try and get over the advantage line, try and see how much pressure we can put them under. And then, now this is what I'm normally, and I've said this a lot of time when I've been on the show, is that for the Springboks, going for 3 points is always an option, but the first choice is to go for a line-up. But in this game, 100 Pollard is there to go for sticks, get the 3 points, come back, and then once we're comfortable, that's when we start going for the maul and all of that stuff, which I don't think is going to be the case. I think the game is going to be very close. I mean, when you look at the New Zealand squad, it's a 5-3 split. I mean, you got Damian McKenzie on the bench. I mean, they don't call him Clutch McKenzie for no reason. You know, he's going to be coming in hard and all of that stuff. I mean, you got Sam Whitelock. For this New Zealand side, you got Sam Whitelock. He's played over 150 caps for New Zealand. The all-time, you know, captain is the only person that could drown a fish. You know, but the way he's come onto this Rugby World Cup, he started building. I mean, you got Aaron Smith, he's playing his last game for New Zealand. Yeah. Aaron Smith, he's going to be coming on with that fire and vigor. So it's going to be really important in terms of how do we manage this game from a box point of view. But nonetheless, I mean, you got your guys like Arnie Savea on the side of New Zealand. You know, that I think where the Boks are going to really try and put a lot of pressure is on the forwards. 7-1 split, you got Oxen Che, you got Dion Fourie, you got Kwagga Smith, all those guys coming on. I mean, Bigzo, like, I don't mean to be that guy, but my man, it's going to be bloody. It's going to be bloody.
Yo, I can tell you now, if there's one man who's going to be given a chance to come in and the crowd is going to go bananas and wild, is Oxen Che. The man who's been trending on social media for all the wrong reasons. Because people were fighting over him, being from Tabanchu, being from Bloom, you know, all of that. But you know what, Lesego, one thing that I realized, Debza, is throughout this World Cup, with all the top teams that we were able to play against, Ireland, France, England, there was one thing in common. These guys, they tried to match us in terms of our power. We are known for the bomb squad that thrashes anything that comes our way. But somewhat, these teams came in. Let me start with Lesego first. What do you think is going to happen today in terms of the power that we possess?
You know, one thing I could tell you, based on that, I played rugby since 1996, when I was in grade 1. And playing by that time, you know, I would say it's the basics by then. the basics of us, the South African rugby that we will play normally is being a forward. You need to be in each and every crush ball, in each and every ruck. You need to be there. That's how fit, that's how conditioned we are expected to be as forwards. And within the Springbok squad, I swear to God that we have that. So that bullying kind of rugby, it's our game. They would normally say that it's a Burama kind of game, and we play it to our best. And such a game, it's easy for us to utilize. But one thing that I also do like, we have the technical side of it. We are able to kick also, by putting more pressure towards our opponents. By doing so, putting more pressure, it relieves the forwards inside the game. They get to be relaxed more easily. They cover. You know what normally they do is that when the backline would kick, the forwards will spread out inside the field. They close the line. We say that there has to be one. It's either a scrum half or the captain within the forwards. There has to be one. They'll say, let's line up. You go at one pace towards the forward as soon as you have kicked. By doing so, we're closing that line. So if they do not kick back, we are able to cover. We are able to breathe as forwards, because you get people that are weighing like 130 kilograms inside the forwards.
Yeah.
They expect to run all over, back to forward, you see. And such, they tend to relax, and they're able, when whoever comes in, the defense gets to be more tight.
Sure.
I like our captain, Siya Kolisi, the way he takes his responsibility as a captain. Leading the forwards, leading the team, being the ball carrier also. I would like to see more of him doing such, Also the big man, Elizabeth,
Yes.
to do such, carry more balls, even our eighth man, to carry more balls also. For him to do that, that will provide us more of an advantage on our side.
No, I hear you. Tebza, I wanna pose the same question to you. Were we matched in terms of strength, or it was because of tactics?
Yeah, I think mostly where I understand what he's trying to say, but I think my thing is that I highly disagree. I think when we look at how the Springboks have played, we've been caught between what is it that we want to do. Are we trying to play a game whereby are we coming off the line? Are we trying to play a game in terms of defense? Are we coming off the line? Or are we being expensive? Are we going to be that team that wants to spread the ball around? Now, one thing, Pingso, and I need to tell you that the last game that we played, the forward pack of the Boks all together combined had about 600 and something games together. So, the only reason why I feel as if it went like that was because we were caught between how do we want to play. If you're going to play a game whereby you're coming off the line, you don't really have a chance to play the game whereby your wingers are chasing. You can kick the ball up in the air. And it's not like that. You need to choose between the one. And that's why I always say, look at how the squad has been chosen for this game.
Yeah.
The squad that has been chosen for this game, we haven't chosen a squad that allows our backline players to be all over the field. No, we haven't chosen that. It's contestables. Get up in the air. Make sure we retain the ball. Let the forwards get a lot of energy and come off the line. Were we matched physically? Because of tactics, yes we were. Because of tactics, yes we were. Hence I say, if the Boks did not make it to the final, it would have really been tough for John Nienaber in this game.
I like the fact that you say that. You know how many times I said that to people, that the way Coach Nienaber approached the game, he approached it like somebody who was hoping, let's get to the final, let's push it, let's get to the final. And now in the final, we're about to see what he had in mind the whole time. Let me tell you, I really can't wait to watch this game. As tense as I am right now, I can't wait. Listen, how tense are you before we check out this game?
You know, to tell you the truth, you say Jacques Ningebob seems like he was facing each and every game, or planning each and every game with hope that if you could only win this one, if you go to the finals. I beg to differ. I beg to differ because Jacques Ningebob, he's a coach that we never had. He's different from Nicky Mallet. He's different from the previous coaches that we had. From Jake White and them. Why? Because he's more strategically.
But let me tell you why I say he was hoping. The changes, let's talk about the changes that he made to win the games, right? Look at the England game, for example. He was trying to play, like Tebogo was saying, he was trying to go for maximum points the whole time, and he realized what I'm trying to do is not working. In the last 10, they went for kicking. They went to get those 3 points. They even went as far as
Can I jump in there? Can I jump in, please? Can I jump in? Can I jump in? You know what? Within the rugby game, within the rugby match, basically, you know what happens is that when you still have a chance, you do exactly what you want to do, and that is getting the 5 points. If you can, let's do the 5 points. If it doesn't work, you're going to the second option. That is why when we had an opportunity to kick, Kolisi said that we could go for the lineup and drive them and see if they are compatible to us, the England guys, within the ruck when we could drive over them or not. They were unable to, but they kept on. They were persistent with that. From the last game, they were persistent with that. By being persistent with that, they saw it doesn't much of a succeed, because when the ruck is formed, the first 3 they get to be keyed off. They've been knocked from the side, and we end up lacking a momentum to be stationary and have that momentum so we could move forward. That's how they were able to beat us those lineups.
I wanna pick on Tebogo because he was about to say something. Now that you've said what you wanted to say, Tebogo, what were you about to say?
I think once again I have to heavily disagree.
Yeah.
I think it's a wrong analogy. Yeah. We didn't go for line because Sia wanted to test them. We went for line because firstly, the opportunities that we had to go for poles weren't on. They weren't on. And secondly of all, because we didn't go for line because Mani Lebok was not a player that can go for poles. So in terms of, as much as he's a great player, he struggles with his goal putting. Hence I'm disagreeing with that. So and you look at it and you look at it statistically wise, that's what it is. The reason why Mani Lebok was substituted earlier on was because we realized that the opportunity to go for line, we don't have that anymore. We need to go for poles. Pollard is the one that can get us through over the line in terms of that. Remember the penalty that Mani Lebok slotted through was a penalty that was given on the other side of the halfway line. Then Owen Farrell had a little back chat to the ref and it was moved closer.
Yeah.
When it was moved closer, Sia Kolisi had a chat with Mani and was like, get it through. He was like, yes. And then they decided to go for poles. So it's one of those, our malls, we didn't have it enough for us to say, let us test them in the mall. We didn't have it. As I'm saying, it's a totally wrong analogy. We couldn't test them for the malls because our malls haven't worked in the World Cup.
Yeah, no.
So you'll never, you won't test. Why would you go and play against England and be like, let me test them in the mall? You can't, because we haven't been doing well. So in this game, I think that in this game, you're going to see a lot of it. With the split that we're going with and everything, you're going to see a lot is that we are bullying to get penalties. We want to win points. Pizzo, and you will you will understand this, and I think you'll also understand this. There's only one World Cup out of the 3 World Cups that we've played. where the Boks have won by tries. And that was in 2019. The rest of them have been going through polls. We are here at Ramblers Club. There are polls right there. That's all that we need. Hence, Mani Lebok is not in the team. We're going to be going for polls. The Boks are not going to try and overpower. They're not going to try and do that. They're going to try and overpower on the field. But when they get time, they're going to go for polls.
I hear what you're saying, Simba. I hear what you're saying. I definitely do hear what you're saying. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, you have been a forward yourself. You know, if you guys not meet up to the game statistics or do not push up to the level of the game on itself, the back lines get to be distracted. They're on a setback, a food bank, if I should say. What I'm saying is that they are, I believe, with power, with the All Blacks, we are very compatible with them. Remember the last World Cup in 2019 against the English. We won them, we beat them through our power. We played the kind of typical rugby. That's how we won them.
Yeah, but you also need to look at the game that was being played between us and England. England was smart about how they played. England didn't want to play us against power. They didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
The way it went, when you look at the two forward packs, yes, Bongi coming up, not Bongi, Ox and those other guys coming onto the field, when we eventually matched them with power, it eventually worked. But that was not the idea for England. England played us by playing our game. England kicked. England were chasing. They didn't want anything to do with our forwards.
Yeah.
They were kicking the ball. And by the time we managed to get them to work with our forwards, that's when they failed. So, hence I'm saying is that I think the whole of South Africa today, the whole of South Africa tonight wants to see a Springbok game where we are going to apply ourselves. Yeah. We're going to show ourselves what we can do. You understand? That's what we want to do in this game today. But if South Africans are hoping that we're going to have a lot of the ball, I think they might as well just forget it now. We're not going to have a lot of the ball.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not going to have a lot of the ball. We're going to kick most of the ball away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when we get into New Zealand's half, that's when we're going to have a lot of the ball.
But what do you think New Zealand is going to do if we're not going to have a lot of the ball? Are you trying to say that they are going to have a lot of the ball and then...
It's once again the same thing. Force them to be creative. Force them to build from their own half. That's where I'm saying that, and I'm going hard at this a lot. And I'm saying that the reason why we have so many forwards on the bench and so little backline is because Jordan Inobo is going in with the mindset of we are defending as if our lives depend on it, which they do. You understand? It's for the World Cup. So we're not going to have a lot of the ball. We're going to kick a lot of the ball. In their half, we're going to play. But if we get there, we're going to be doing a lot of defending. We're going to force them to try and build. And remember, Pixel, the effort it takes to work your tries and work maybe an 80-meter or a 70-meter try is equally as tiring as having to defend. But if I can defend you for 33 phases or more, I have the upper hand. Yeah. I'm excited because I'm doing the most of the work.
Yeah. Listen, let's do this. If you're at home and you don't know where you're going to watch the game, you still got time to come through to Ramblers because this is where we're watching the game. It's going to be insane. I mean, I'm already getting excited because it's picking up. If you look behind us, yes, man, people are already positioning themselves. I don't know where Tebogo is going to sit to check the game because the front positions are being taken, man.
I'm gonna be on the stage. I'm gonna be watching like this. All eyes in.
Yeah. So just make sure that you make your way. Shout out to Casalaga for making sure that we come here and enjoy the game because they're a big part of the sponsor. That is why my throat is. But let's quickly take a break. When we come back from the break, we are continuing with the conversation. So yeah, that's what it is. Siabuya. Ladies and gentlemen, let's close it off with our last remarks because I can tell you, man, people just want to watch rugby. I want to watch it too. I'm excited. I can't wait for the game to start because, yeah, my friends, history is about to be made. And I'm going to start with you, Lesego. Your closing remarks. What would you like to say? What would you, for someone who's going to watch at home, because there's a lot of people who are not rugby heads, right? And they just want to check out the game and they're going with the vibe. What would you like to say to them and your last words on the show before we watch the game?
Well, my last words to the viewers there back at home. What I'm going to say towards you is that I know this game is going to be more stressful before, way more than the England's game. It's going to be way stressful. Relax. Have your castle. We are winning this one. We are bringing it home. I swear, we are bringing this home.
Your score prediction?
Pardon?
Your score prediction. What's the difference?
My score prediction is going to be 12-6.
Okay.
We are winning 12-6.
Tebza, Asiva, Lentoana, your last remarks?
Yeah, no, my last remarks, Pigzo, I'm going to keep it very short. I'm going to say once again, Springboks 3-3 in World Cup finals, All Blacks 4-3, 3-4, and the last one they lost was against us, 1995, 28 years later. We're coming back to do it again, and it's going to be a really close game. I just think that 3 points is going to be the difference, but we're going to take it.
One game, 80 minutes to wrap it up, for the 2023 Rugby World Cup. And South Africa is in there. South Africa has given us all types of emotions. Let's look into the first half and see what's going to happen. I'm ready. I hope you're ready at home. And like I said before, if you are there, you don't know where to watch it, you're in Bloemfontein, come through to Ramblers Club, just behind VW, next to President Hotel. That's how close I can get you. But let me tell you, it's going to be fun. We out. We'll come back during halftime. Ayoba.
There's a QR code as well. It's the MasterCard Player of the Match Challenge. Gentlemen, break